Boxing truth here. Quick prediction for the Deontay Wilder Luis Ortiz fight tonight. No film study, no film analysis, just a little picture and my thoughts on this matchup. This heavyweight title showdown going down in Brooklyn. And what is a significant heavyweight fight? It's finally a step up for Wilder, a chance to make a statement in heavyweight division. I just hope the fight's real. I hope we get a honest outcome and honest effort from Luis Ortiz if he's allowed to do damage on Wilder tonight. That's all I want. For Wilder to prove that he should be hyped as a potential opponent for Joshua, not just being given the hype just simply because he has a strap, even though he hasn't defended it against anybody, not any worthy contenders. That's the problem with a lot of boxing fans. They hype up certain fighters without having to do shit. For instance, Jamal Charlo being hyped to fight Golovkin, even though his best win is a one-legged Highland and a hyped up prospect in Julian Williams. You got the heavyweight division, Wilder. He's fought nothing but PBC Heymanized, handpicked opponents. And the reason why he's fighting Ortiz is because he is the most formidable, the most dangerous, controlled by Al Heyman. You really think Wilder's ever going to fight someone outside of the PBC universe if he doesn't have to? That's my issue with Deontay Wilder, because his handlers don't want to match him with anybody outside the PBC, which is why the Povetkin fight didn't happen, which is why he turned down a career-high payday to fight Dylan White. So you have to question the validity of Wilder's wins, because there's definitely been some setups, there's definitely been some dives taken, and there's potential that this one is going to be a setup. All for the business of boxing, all to keep Wilder in the win column, just to build him up for a gigantic payday in the future. But the thing is, I want a real fighter to earn that type of showdown. I want a legitimized champion to earn that showdown. I want Wilder to show me that he has improved, that those 39 showcase fights has actually given him not just a false sense of confidence, it's made him a better fighter and perhaps made him ready for world level operators, to where he doesn't have to be protected anymore. He can fight the world class guys out there without having to worry about what his handlers will think and trying to protect them, or just continue to put him in PBC type fights. Only fight guys within the PBC. So let's hope we get a real fight tonight. And I'm being optimistic. I hope Luis Ortiz doesn't take a dive. I don't think he will or should, no matter how much money Heyman has offered him. This is his opportunity. This is his only opportunity he's going to get, because he's in the latter stage of his career. He's worked very hard to get into this position. He's been dropped by organizations for failed drug tests, even though he's been cleared. Fights have been canceled, even though he was cleared by the WBC. He's lost out on opportunities in the past. So it's been a tough road for Luis Ortiz. It's been a difficult road. And now this is his only shot. He's never going to get another shot like this, because a loss puts him back to square one in the bottom of the rankings, where no champion is going to cherry pick him. So Wilder took the fight, even though he didn't have to, but the reality is he did. There was no other opponents out there that Heyman was confident enough to put him in there with that was within his stable, and it wasn't attractive enough to have this type of fight that they're having Saturday night. It's a significant fight. There's going to be a bunch of media there. There's going to be, close to a capacity crowd. So everything's on the line. Wilder had to take this fight. There was no way he could continue to handpick opponents and try to sell that to the public. We need to see something. We need to see something real. something impressive, something significant, something that warrants this type of hype he's getting as perhaps Joshua's biggest threat. Let's see him knock out Luis Ortiz. Let's see him make a statement, a real statement in the heavyweight division. Can Wilder accomplish that? It remains to be seen. I mean, you look at it and you look back at Wilder's title reign. You look at the struggles he's had, even against handpicked opponents. I mean, why is he losing rounds to Gerald Washington? Why is he getting outboxed by a football player with no experience? Why is he getting marked up in a tough-ass fight with some Frenchman named Deontay? Why is he getting rocked by Eric Molina? Why couldn't he knock out Stavern the first time? Why is he struggling and looking like trash against Arthur Spilka, another hand-picked opponent? Looking like straight garbage against Chris Arreola. So Wilder, he's had 6 consecutive title defenses. Hasn't really impressed me in any of them. Has struggled in some of these fights. Has looked vulnerable. Getting marked up by Frenchmen. Getting outboxed by football players. He finally has an impressive performance against a heavy bag and a guy who didn't even bother to really give an honest effort, which was Stavern. Dude had nothing. So people are going by that performance, but it was a bullshit fight. Stavern never had any intentions of trying to win. Didn't even throw a punch in the round of that fight that lasted. So Wilder beat up some heavy bag and knocked him out. And I'm supposed to be impressed by that. I'm supposed to be convinced that he's just going to steamroll Luis Ortiz, who has been dominant. He hasn't been very active lately, but he hasn't lost many rounds. He's been knocking guys out, has been dominant, even against guys that were just trying to survive against him and Malik Scott. Has knocked out taller fighters in Tony Thompson. Has knocked out top contenders in Bryant Jennings. Has been dominant in his performances. Even against people will say he had a shitty performance against Dave Allen. It was a fight he dominated though. Didn't even lose a round. So he didn't look impressive against Malik Scott, but he dominated. Didn't lose a round. Didn't lose a second of that fight. And Malik Scott didn't even try to win. He just ran and just tried to survive and got knocked down a bunch of times in the process. So you look back in their career paths, Wilder is getting handpicked showcases, not looking good in them, not looking spectacular, except the one fight against Stavern in the rematch. And Ortiz, he's fighting experienced guys, former world title challengers, knocking them out, prospects, barely losing a round, but he hasn't been very active in over the past year. So he's not coming into his fight with much momentum. He's 38 years old, so on paper at least. He is slower than Wilder. Not as fast. He does have trouble with guys who make Ortiz come to him, because Ortiz is a counter puncher. He's not a guy that creates offense as well as counter punching. So if Wilder steps on the back foot, boxes like he did against Stavern, he has a good chance of winning the fight, because Ortiz is not great at cutting off the ring. He's not great at creating offense. He's not a great pressure fighter that can create opportunities for his knockout blows. That's not his style. I mean, he can chop you down, but it takes a little longer, and Ortiz doesn't look as good. So Ortiz, if he has to chase him down, if he has to chop him down, then that's what he has to do. But, of course, he can take advantage of Wilder's sloppiness with his technique. He can get out of position. He could square himself up. He could miss. And there's a lot of openings to take advantage of, especially when Wilder overcommits himself. He can be wide open for overhand lefts, which is Ortiz's money punch every time Wilder throws a wild-ass right hand. He can take advantage of his jab. Wilder's jab is, I wouldn't say he's very educated. It's a good jab, but he needs to add more wrinkles to it. Wilder's working on side steps. He's working on speed. So he's relatively light for this fight. Much lighter than Ortiz. He's going to be the lighter guy, but the more faster, athletic guy. And we're going to see if this fight's real or not. If Wilder knocks out Ortiz within 3 rounds and it looks for real, it's legitimate, then Wilder gets his props. He gets the credit. He gets the ammunition to be Joshua's next opponent. He gets that deserved title of that Joshua needs to fight this guy as soon as possible. But not until Wilder does something with his career. He needs to beat Luis Ortiz legitimately and impressively. But we'll see. We'll see how this fight plays out. If the fight is real, I'm going with King Kong Ortiz. He could exploit the mistakes of Wilder. If Wilder gets too wild and leaves himself open, he has one-punch knockout power. He's been dominant in most of his fights. Coming into this fight, Wilder has not been. Wilder has not been looking good over the past few fights when you take out the Severn rematch, which was a bullshit fight. So, if the fight is real, I believe Ortiz is going to make boxing history tonight. He is going to be the first Cuban-born heavyweight champion of the world. The Cubans have been taking some serious L's lately, and I don't think it's going to continue. I think the streak will be broken. At least one of them will win tonight, and I'm banking it to be Ortiz. King Kong to shock the world. Well, at least to shatter the hearts of the Deontay Wilder fanboys and expose that protected champion in Deontay Wilder. It's going to be a funny day in boxing history if Ortiz gets the job done and knocks out the hype job Deontay Wilder in Brooklyn. How devastating it will be for Wilder's fans. But who knows? Maybe they'll just jump off the bandwagon, toss him to the curb, and then jump on the next dude's saddle, which is Luis Ortiz. But we'll see. I won't be surprised if Wilder wins, but I'm banking on Ortiz. If the fight's real, I'm going by devastating knockout with a counter left hand in the 5th round in what will be a firefight, as Wilder is going to be amped up trying to make a statement, but he's going to overcommit himself and get caught cold and knocked the fuck out in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the fight. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.